Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Tathastu. As part of Dandi to Azadi series, this is the third lecture. Today I will be discussing the Poona Pact. But before that, let's have a quick revision of the last lecture, what we had covered in the last lecture. So I had covered first roundtable conferences, second roundtable conference, both the conferences, who were the participants in them. Hello Akshay, who were the participants in them, what were the outcomes which happened in those conferences, what were the things which were discussed in those conferences. Hello, good evening everyone, good evening Karthik, good evening Aishwarya. So in last lecture we have finished both roundtable conferences as well as the discussions which happened over there, as well as the outcomes which came out of both the roundtable conferences. After second roundtable conference, as I had discussed, the negotiations in second roundtable conference broke down. Broke down on which matter? On the matter of separate electorate, on the discussion of separate electorate or reservation for the depressed class. The negotiations broke down on the second roundtable conference, and so the Gandhiji returned empty-handed. Good evening everyone, good evening Pramila, good evening Way to Learn. So Gandhiji returned empty-handed after second roundtable conference. When Gandhiji returned empty-handed, what will be the next reaction? So we will start from here. So as Gandhiji returned empty-handed, the next reaction was to launch or to relaunch or to restart the civil disobedience movement. Good evening everyone, good evening Arav, good evening Trisa. So the next reaction for Gandhiji was to restart the civil disobedience movement, which was suspended because of the second roundtable conference. Good evening everyone, कंसंट्रेट कीजिए स्टडी पे, ठीक है. तो जैसा मैं आपको बता रहा था कि सेकेंड राउंड टेबल कॉन्फ्रेंस में गांधी जी खाली हाथ लौट गए, कुछ भी फाइनल नहीं हो पाया सेपरेट इलेक्टोरेट के मुद्दे पे, और उसकी वजह से फिर से सिविल डिसोबीडियंस मूवमेंट लॉन्च कर दिया गया, रीलॉन्च कर दिया गया. हेलो एवरीवन, आई एम फाइन, कंसंट्रेट ऑन स्टडीज. गुड इवनिंग पूजा. सो डेली होती है इस पर क्लास, बिल्कुल डेली किसी न किसी विषय की क्लास इस पर होती है डेली. So when Gandhiji returned empty-handed, so what was the next thing? Second round table conference, as I had discussed, from September to December 1931, and in this, after this, Gandhiji returning empty-handed, खाली हाथ आ गए. When Gandhiji returned empty-handed, what was the first reaction? Restarting civil disobedience movement. Again, civil disobedience movement was, hello Surjit, पढ़ाई पर ध्यान दीजिए. तो as again civil disobedience movement was started. Civil disobedience movement में क्या होगा? Again salt march will start, again forest satyagraha will start, again the boycott of Chowkidari tax in the Bihar region, forest satyagraha in central provinces, salt marches, salt satyagraha in coastal areas, no rent, no revenue campaign in other areas of the country will start. तो ये सारी चीजें जो है अलग अलग जगह पे शुरू हो गई. So this was one thing and this will keep going. We will discuss in detail. इसके बारे में हम थोड़ी चर्चा करेंगे कि आगे इसमें क्या होगा. Parallelly साथ में एक चीज और भी हो रहा था. वह क्या हो रहा था? वह हो रहा था डिस्कशन ऑन कम्युनल अवार्ड. अब ये कम्युनल अवार्ड क्या है? द इशू ऑफ सेपरेट इलेक्टोरेट. सो दिस हैपेंड ऑन व्हेन? ऑन 16th August 1931. On 16th August, sorry, 1932. On 16th August 1932. So on 16th August 1932, the British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald in the British Parliament announced what is called as communal award or the separate electorate for depressed classes. जो depressed classes के लिए थे उनके लिए separate electorate की घोषणा हो गई कहां पर? ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट में 16 अगस्त 1932 को. So after this was announced there, Gandhi ji was angry because Gandhi ji जो है he was not in favor of separate electorate for depressed classes. Gandhi ji was not in favor of this. Gandhi ji said, Gandhi ji wrote to Ramsay MacDonald that I have to resist your decision with my life. It means he was ready to even sacrifice his life for the issue of separate electorate. तो सेपरेट इलेक्टोरेट को रोकने के लिए गांधी जी रोड टू रैमसे मैकडोनाल्ड. ठीक है. तो ऑन 18th August 1932 गांधी जी wrote, I will resist your decision with my life. British were like, this is a issue between you people. We are nobody to discuss this. British ने किनारा कर लिया. This is not our issue. This is an issue between Dr. Ambedkar and Gandhi ji. This is an issue between Indian people. We have nothing to do with this. We have announced this communal award or the separate electorate for depressed class only because of the efforts of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. तो ब्रिटिश लोगों ने किनारा कर लिया कि हमारा कुछ लेना देना नहीं है, आपस में देख लो. You people settle between yourself. Now Gandhi ji was like, ठीक है, we'll sort it out, we'll discuss this issues in ourselves. आपस में हम लोग बात करेंगे इस पे. Then came the discussions between Gandhi ji and Ambedkar. Gandhi ji, why? Now the question arises that what was the reason for Gandhi ji to oppose this and what was the reason for Dr. Ambedkar to support this? Both were the great stalwarts of India's freedom struggle, whether it is Gandhi ji or Ambedkar, but their approaches towards the Dalit issue was different. First, let's see the Ambedkar issue. What Ambedkar's point of view was. Ambedkar said, Gandhi ji, when you don't have any problem with separate electorate for Muslims, separate electorate for Sikhs, separate electorate for Europeans, separate electorate for Anglo-Indians, why are you protesting separate electorate for Dalits? Why are you protesting separate electorates for depressed classes? Good evening, Rohit. So Ambedkar, first argument by Ambedkar was, why resist for depressed class only? Already separate electorate is there for Muslims, Sikhs and other communities. So first argument given by Ambedkar was this. Second argument which Ambedkar gave was, Gandhi ji, I want political representation for my community because political representation is essential for the survival of my community. If the Dalits or the depressed have to survive, they have to thrive and flourish in independent India, they have to be given this. So second argument given by Ambedkar was that it is important for survival of their community. Third reason, good evening, motivation speaker. So third reason given by Ambedkar was, if there is no separate electorate means the candidates who are going to be elected will also be from depressed classes, and those who can vote for those candidates, they will be also from the depressed classes. यानी कि depressed class के ही दोनों लोग हैं, जो वोट करेंगे वो भी depressed class के होंगे और जो candidates होंगे वो भी depressed class के होंगे. Gandhi ji was against this. So Ambedkar said that if there is joint electorate means candidates will be from the scheduled caste or depressed classes, but everyone can vote. Caste Hindus can also vote, Muslims can also vote, Sikhs can also, everybody in our constituency can vote. Candidates will be only from the scheduled class. As you know, nowadays, at present also 84 seats are reserved. At present also 84 seats are reserved for scheduled caste in our parliament. So, on those seats, who can vote? All of us can vote. Whoever is the voter of that constituency can vote. That is the system of joint electorate. So, Ambedkar said that if there is joint electorate on any seat, then there will be a problem for the depressed class. What will be the problem? Problem will be, good evening Shivam, problem will be that there will be maximum 10%, 20%, 25%, 30% only depressed class in any constituency. So, the majority of voters will be always caste Hindus. So, those who are going to win, whether they are from depressed classes or not, even if they are from depressed classes, they will have to rely on the Hindus, caste Hindus for vote, or the so-called upper caste, they will have to rely. And if the depressed candidates have to rely on the caste Hindus, then independent Dalit leadership of depressed classes won't emerge. So, the argument given by Ambedkar was that if there is joint electorate, then independent Dalit leadership won't emerge. Independent leadership. Why? Because they will have to depend on caste Hindus for vote. Independent leadership for depressed classes won't emerge. So, the reasons given by Ambedkar were very clear, that it is important for survival of its community, why resist only for depressed classes, and independent leadership won't emerge. In addition, Ambedkar also said that this is the right way in which leadership can be, political representation can be given to the Dalits. Now let's see the argument given by Gandhiji. Gandhiji was against this. As I told you, he wrote to the British Prime Minister that I will resist your decision of communal abode by giving up my life. I will defend my decision even if I have to sacrifice my life for this. Why Gandhiji was against this? Because Gandhiji said that this will divide the Hindu society permanently. This is going to be a rift in the body politic of the Hindu society forever. They will never be able to integrate the Dalits if once this issue of separate electorate is, or the communal abode or separate electorate is given to the Dalits for political representation. They will never be able to reintegrate with the Hindu society. And that's why Gandhiji opposed this, that it will divide the Hindu society permanently. As Gandhiji used to say, Harijans, they won't integrate in future. And that was the reason that a tussle started between Gandhiji and Ambedkar. And both the stalwarts, none of them were ready to back down. Hello Vinay. So none of them were ready to back down. दोनों अपने अपनी बातों पर अड़े हुए थे. Both were adamant on their stand. So both were adamant on their stand and no agreement was happening in between. In the light of these things, in the light of these developments, Gandhiji started his epic fast. Because as I told you, the moment civil disobedience movement was resumed, Gandhiji was arrested and put into the Yerwada jail in Poona. So Gandhiji was in jail, and from jail itself on 28th September 1932, Gandhiji started his fast unto death. Even after starting this fast unto death, Dr. Ambedkar was not ready to take a step back, because he said this is a very rightful demand from the depressed classes. This is a very just demand from the depressed classes, and since no other alternative is being given to me, I will not back down from this demand, even for Gandhi's sake. Just for the Gandhi's sake, I will not back down from this demand. And so this tussle continues. But what happens next is, as Gandhiji was fasting, day by day his health condition were deteriorating, and all these news of his deteriorating health were being covered in all the newspapers. सारे न्यूज़पेपर में इसका कवरेज होने लग गया. A wave of solidarity, a wave of sympathy with the Congress and the Gandhi emerged across the country, and most of these newspapers were in the favor of Gandhi, and his deteriorating health was putting pressure on Dr. Ambedkar to compromise. And under these circumstances, Ambedkar was forced to compromise on this issue, because initially Ambedkar was not in a mood to compromise. He felt that the demand for separate electorate was a rightful demand, a just demand from which he will not back down. But against this condition, against the mounting pressure of newspapers, people, in fact, protest started against Ambedkar. People started doubting Ambedkar's intentions. Death threats were issued to Dr. Ambedkar. So finally, there is a leader from Tamil Nadu, Dr. MC Raja. He was the person who persuaded Dr. Ambedkar to relent on this issue. In fact, Madan Mohan Malviya, C. Raja Gopalachari, these were also there. Tej Bahadur Sapru, they also tried to persuade Dr. Ambedkar to relent. But finally, it was Dr. MC Raja from Tamil Nadu who was able to persuade Dr. Ambedkar to compromise on this issue, because he said, if anything wrong happens to Gandhiji's life, the cause of Dalits will be impacted. The prejudice against Dalits or the depressed class will increase. The injustices will increase, because again caste Hindus, they will think that because of these Dalits or the depressed class only, harm to the Gandhi's life was done. So against all these mounting pressure and against all this background, finally on the 24th September 1932, Poona Pact was signed. On 24th September 1932, Poona Pact was signed. At 5 p.m. on 24th September 1932, 23 people signed this Poona Pact. 23 people signed this Poona Pact. Prominent among them were Gandhiji, Dr. Ambedkar, Madan Mohan Malviya, and what was agreed in this Poona Pact? In the communal award or separate electorate, 71 seats were given to depressed classes. So under this Poona Pact, this 71 seats was increased to 148 seats. 148 seats in provincial assemblies. In provincial assemblies. In addition, 18 to 19% of reservation were proposed in the Central Assembly also. So the number of seats, as you can see, number of seats were doubled, but these seats will be filled how? Through joint electorate. As I told you, in the system of joint electorate, as now we have candidates will be from the depressed classes, but everybody can vote. All the caste Hindus, all the voters of that constituency can vote. So this was the background of the pact, and this was the result of the pact, where the seats reserved for Dalits or depressed were doubled, more than doubled, but it should be under the joint electorate. And after this, Gandhiji realized that untouchability is an issue which has to be taken head on. You cannot run away from this, because this is an issue which is dividing the society, dividing the Hindu society, and which has the potential to alienate the Dalits forever. And that's why after this Poona Pact on 24th of September, on 38th of September 1932, he started All India Untouchability League. He started All India Untouchability League on 30th September 1932, because he realized that this issue is very important if we have to remove untouchability from Indian society, Hindu society. So this was the background for Poona Pact, and this is the organization which later came to be known as Harijan Sevak Sangh. Harijan Sevak Sangh. This has been asked directly in prelims. Prelims में पूछा जा चुका है All India Untouchability League related to Gandhiji. This has been asked directly in the prelims. Now moving to the next area. No, communal award was not included. Rather, a substitute for communal award. Under communal award, there was provision for separate electorate for the depressed classes. That got converted into joint electorate for the depressed classes, Rohit. In communal award, there was provision for separate electorate. In under Poona Pact, Dalits were given joint electorate, in which candidates or the seats will be reserved for the Dalits. But who can vote? All of us can vote. All the voters can vote. Caste Hindus can also vote. It will not be reserved only for the Dalits. So it was not included in the Poona Pact. Moving next. As I told you that after returning, समझ में आ गया रोहित? Have you understood? As I told you, after returning from second round table conference, Gandhiji was in jail. Gandhiji was in jail during Poona Pact. He was in Yerwada jail and he was doing fast over there only. वहीं पर वो अपना फास्ट कर रहे थे. He was doing fast over there only in Yerwada jail in Pune. He was arrested. Gandhiji, as I was telling you that second round table conference happened. From second round table conference, Gandhiji returned empty-handed. When Gandhiji returned empty-handed, Congress decided to launch or decided to restart civil disobedience movement. I told you this, that after returning empty-handed, Congress decided to restart civil disobedient movements. Gina verse, is it clear? Have your question been answered? So, okay, I will give your answer way to learn in the end, don't worry. So, Congress decided to restart civil disobedience movement. Once they decided to restart, the new viceroy, the new viceroy was Wellington. I told you in April itself the viceroy was changed. Irwin was replaced by Wellington, and this Wellington was more ruthless. He was more brutal in his approach. So before this movement could start, all leaders before this movement could restart, civil disobedience movement, all leaders were arrested, including Gandhiji. So Gandhiji got arrested. Gandhiji got arrested on 4th January 1932. On 4th Jan 1932, Gandhiji got arrested. So as you were asking, where was Gandhiji? He was in jail. So as you know, as part of the civil disobedience movement, round table conference, I have discussed Gina all these in previous lectures. Round table conference was held to discuss the scheme of constitutional reforms which has to be brought to in India. India में constitutional reform लाने के लिए किया जा रहा था. Coming back, ठीक है? Yes, Wellington got replaced Irwin. So Gandhiji got arrested. All leaders were in jail. But then also salt satyagrah, again as you know, salt satyagrah started. Forest satyagrah started. No Chaukidari tax campaign started. No revenue campaign started. All these were restarted as part of the relaunch of civil disobedience movement after coming from second round table conference. But as you know, any mass movement has its limitation. Why limitation? Because the ability of masses to sacrifice is very limited. You cannot expect people to sacrifice for long period of time. They have family to look after, they have occupation to do. You cannot expect them to keep participating in movements for many years. And so slowly civil disobedience movement declined by 1933-34. Slowly this movement declined. Why? Because masses cannot sacrifice for long. To expect masses to sacrifice for very long time is meaningless, because they have to also look for their livelihood, after their family, after their kith and kin. You cannot expect masses to sacrifice for long period of time. So slowly the civil disobedience movement, which was restarted, declined by 1933-34. Now moving to the next dimension of civil disobedience movement, we will evaluate what were the achievements of civil disobedience movement. Achievements. If we see the achievement of civil disobedience movement, obviously civil disobedience movement was started to free India, to liberate India, to attain complete independence, or what was called Purna Swaraj. And if you judge it from that perspective, so it was a failure. Why? Because India did not get freedom, India did not get independence. We could not be liberated from the clutches of British Raj. So from that yardstick, it was a failure. But we should not judge these movements based on that yardstick. Why? Because whether it is non-cooperation movement or civil disobedience movement, all these movements were taking us closer to our goal of independence. So by no means you can call these movements a failure. And so CDM was a grand success. How you will judge it is a grand success? There are few metrics. If you see the number of people arrested in non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement, you will see the difference. In non-cooperation movement, there were around 20,000 people who were arrested, but in civil disobedience movement, the number of people arrested were more than 90,000. So, participation increased. For that matter, mass participation increased, and it is reflected where? In the number of people arrested. In CDM were more than 90,000, which was only 20,000 in the non-cooperation movement. Another metric of success was liberation of women. Liberation of women. Civil disobedience movement marked the entry of women into public life. It marked the entry of women into public life. Entry of women into public life, and from that perspective, it was a huge success. It was a huge success. There was a lot of women participation in the civil disobedience movement. Another metric for the success of CDM can be the participation of poor and illiterate, basically the masses. They participated in huge number in the civil disobedience movement, and that's why we cannot say that it was a failure. It was a huge success. The kind of radicalism we see in the civil disobedience movement, it is more than the non-cooperation movement. In addition, one more thing that you will see after civil disobedience is 1937 elections. In 1937 elections, Congress emerged victorious, and this was why this happened, because Congress was riding high on the success of civil disobedience movement, and that's why in 1937 election we will see Congress emerged victorious. So all these things clearly demonstrate that civil disobedience movement was not a failure, rather a step closer to attaining independence. This is about CDM. Next thing that we are going to discuss is the third roundtable conference. Next thing that we are going to discuss is third roundtable conference. After this civil disobedience movement, after the success of civil disobedience movement, one more thing happened, and that was third roundtable conference. It started in 1932, November 1932, and continued till December 1932. This is the last roundtable conference. This is the last roundtable conference. We have already discussed two roundtable conferences. So, if we see the third roundtable conference, who was the chairman? As I told you, Ramsay MacDonald. Who was the viceroy at this point of time? Lord Wellington. How many people participated in third roundtable conference? Only 46 delegates. Only 46 delegates. We have seen that in first roundtable conference, we have seen that in first roundtable conference there were around 90 delegates. In second roundtable conference, when Gandhiji participated, when Congress participated, there were around 155. There were around 155 delegates, and in third roundtable conference we have how many? We have how many? Around 46 delegates only. So the number of delegates is also, yes Rohit, it is Ramsay MacDonald and Wellington. So the number of delegates were less. Why less? Because Indian National Congress was not invited in third roundtable conference. Why not invited? Because all leaders, I told you, Gandhiji was in jail. All leaders in jail. They were arrested and they were put behind bars. Because Wellington, I told you, Wellington was more ruthless in his approach. Wellington was more ruthless, more brutal in his approach, and that's why all leaders were in jail and Congress was not at all invited in this. In fact, if we see the party Muslim League attended, who participated on behalf of Muslim League? Aga Khan. Muhammad Ali Jinnah was also absent. Muhammad Ali Jinnah was also absent in third round table conference. Then you have Tej Bahadur Sapru, Indian Liberal Party. Tej Bahadur Sapru was there. Then you have Hindu Mahasabha. You have Madan Mohan Malviya. Then you have depressed classes. Dr. Ambedkar. Dr. Ambedkar was there. In this 46 delegates, these people were there. In addition to this, there was one more woman, Begum Jahanara Sahanwaz. There was another community, and that community was women. That community was women. Who represented women in third round table? Begum Sahanawaz. Begum Jahanara Sahanawaz. So, whether it is Muslim League, in Muslim League, Jinnah was not there. Indian Liberal Party, Sapru was there. Hindu Mahasabha, Malviya was there. Depressed classes, Dr. Ambedkar was there. Congress did not participate. Jinnah also did not participate. And what came out of this third round table conference? Nothing much could come out of this third round table conference because it was largely formal and it did not have any larger ramification, any larger impact. In addition to this third round table conference, what happened that 3 round table conference had happened, round table conference 1, 2 and 3, and based on the discussions of these 3 round table conference, a white paper was published. A white paper was published. Based on the 3 round table conference, a white paper was published, and this white paper was discussed in the British Parliament. This white paper was discussed in the British Parliament. When this happened? This happened in March 1933. And so this white paper was debated and discussed in British Parliament, and based on that came the 1935 Government of India Act. Based on that came 1935 Government of India Act. Correct? So all these round table conferences finally led to what? Finally led to publishment of or publication of this white paper, its debate and discussion in British Parliament, and finally the enactment of Government of India Act 1935. So in next class we will see Government of India Act 1935, its various provisions, its criticism and other related issues. So today we finished Poona Pact, third round table conferences, what were their impact, what the evaluation of civil disobedience movement, all these things today we have covered. Good evening Jamshed. So that's all in today's lecture. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask. आपके पास कोई भी doubt है आप पूछ लीजिए. Yes Rohit, please. Class PDF. I am not giving any PDF. I am teaching everything here only. I am not giving any PDF. No PDF is being provided. Everything is free here. What is your question? Way to learn. एक बार ऊपर देखना क्या question है. Preparation of, then what medium is beneficial to an aspirant? Please suggest me because I am from Hindi but I know. See, it is based आपके comfort पे है way to learn. आपको जिस language में comfortable लगता है, आपको जिस language में comfortable लगता है आप उस language में कीजिए. जिस language में आपकी पकड़ अच्छी है उसमें कीजिए. अगर इंग्लिश आपका ज़्यादा अच्छा है तो इंग्लिश में कीजिए, हिंदी ज़्यादा अच्छा है तो हिंदी में कीजिए. इट इज़ योर चॉइस. इट इज़ योर चॉइस दैट यू अटेम्प्ट द पेपर इन इंग्लिश और हिंदी डिपेंडिंग ऑन योर कंफर्ट इन दैट लैंग्वेज. सिविल डिसोबीडियंस मूवमेंट ऑफ 1933, It was not civil disobedience movement of 1933, Gina. Basically, civil disobedience movement was started. Yes, I will make some video in Hindi also, don't worry. I am not getting much time. I will make some videos in Hindi also. So civil disobedience movement was started earlier with Dandi March. But what happened that because of the Gandhi-Irwin Pact, movement was suspended, movement was withdrawn. But when Gandhiji returned after second roundtable conference empty-handed, again Congress started civil disobedience movement in 1932. So that is what I discussed, that, and later the civil disobedience movement declined in 1933-34. This is what I discussed. Class on Bhagat Singh's death. Okay, theek hai. This is not actually part of this Dandi to Azadi series. I will try to deal it in one portion of revolutionaries. जब revolutionary पे deal करेंगे तो we'll make some videos on Bhagat Singh also. Okay, Rohit? Yes, in English more classes will come. Don't worry. In Hindi also I will try to make video. Okay. Thank you everyone. Stay tuned with Tathastu. Thank you.